Everyone, today I wanted to do a video to teach you some design space tips and tricks that I've learned since using my Cricut. And so some of these tips and tricks you will actually see in some of my other videos. However, I wanted to create one video that had all of the tips and tricks together just because I think about as a new person using design space for the first time, how frustrating it can be and how much of a learning curve there is. So, had I known these when I first started, obviously it would be so much easier. And so, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how to upload a photo into Design Space and not get the fuzzy dots that you'll sometimes get with Google Images or with Facebook Images. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google and you'll see that I've searched for Mama Bear Clip Art Black and White. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on one of them and I'm going to right click and save the image as. And you could do the same thing with the phone dump images that are in Facebook groups. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Design Space and I'm going to click on Upload. And I'm going to upload the image that I just saved. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Complex. So any image that I upload, I automatically click on Complex. And what you're going to want to do is erase the background as well as in between all of the letters. And so if I zoom in and I click on Preview, you'll see that there are fuzzy dots around the image. And so in order to prevent those, what I'm going to do is after I click on Complex, I'm going to go to my Advanced Options. And if I'm just uploading a simple black and white image, I'm going to change my top number to 2 and my bottom number I'll put at 60. And so 60 is a really good common ground to start with. The higher that number is, the more it's going to take away from your photo. And then obviously the smaller it is, the less that it takes away. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to click on the background as well as the inside of the letters. Then I'm going to go ahead and preview it. And you'll see that all of those dots are gone. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. Save it as a cut image. And then insert it into my canvas. And so from here, obviously you would resize it. And then you could go ahead and click make it. And so the next tip that I want to show you is I have this text that I have typed out and I'm going to go ahead and weld it. And so prior to welding it, you'll see that it lists my font name, which is cute. It's from defont.com. Once I weld it, it no longer shows that. And so now it just says weld result. And so a lot of times people will make duplicates of their text and they'll leave one unwelded just so they know the font name. However, all you need to do is click on the text and then right click where it says weld result and go to the bottom where it says image info. And then very faintly it'll show you your font name. So you can see it says cute right there. And so the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to open up a text box and I'm going to search for the font Hello Honey, which is another font that I have downloaded from defont.com. And I'm going to go ahead and type out my name. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and resize it just so you can see what I'm doing. And if I go into defont.com, you'll notice that Hello Honey is connected and it has the heart and the long lines at the beginning and end of the letters. And so you would think as a new person that your letters would be connected in Design Space as well, and they aren't. And so the easiest way to get them to connect is to go up to your letter spacing, erase this, and type in -0.5. And so typically that is a really good common ground to get your letters to connect. However, you can also go ahead and use these arrow keys to go ahead and have them move either closer or farther away. And so because this is a cursive font, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to weld it, or else what will happen is it will cut as 5 individual letters rather than one single word. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that same font and I'm going to type out the word love. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change my letter spacing. I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to change my letter spacing to, I'm going to do -0.5 as well in this one. And so really quick, before I weld it, what I'm going to do is I want to show you how to get the hearts and the long lines. And so I'm not going to do like a huge explanation of this because I already have a separate video. But if you're using a Windows device, you can install Character Map UWP. And I'm going to go ahead and open it. And I have the Hello Honey font pulled up. And I'm going to find the E that has the heart on the end. And so I'm going to go ahead and click it, copy it to the keyboard. And then I'm going to go back into Design Space. I'm going to double click on my font. I'm going to backspace on the E, press Control and V, and you'll see that I now have the heart at the end. And you would also do the same for the long lines or any other special characters that you wanted. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to weld this. And when I weld it, sometimes you'll see that the letters will fill in. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit smaller and see if it'll fill it in. So if I click on weld, you'll see that my E and my O filled in. And so obviously you wouldn't want your letters to be this close together for your projects. However, sometimes unintentionally they will fill in. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ungroup this. And prior to ungrouping, I just did the undo button to undo the weld. And so I'm going to go ahead and also I'm going to duplicate this. So a lot of people will resize this and they'll make it as large as they want, weld, and then they'll just resize it to whatever they need. And that's one way that you can get your letters to not fill in. The other way is you already know that your E filled in, so you're going to right click it and send it to the back. And you're going to do the same with the O. So I'm going to right click the O and I'm going to send it to the back. And now if I select everything, I can go ahead and click weld and you'll see that those letters did not fill in that time. And so the next thing that I'm going to show you is how to reverse clean an image. And so I don't know if that's the technical term, but it's something that I stumbled across and it has saved me so much headache. So I'm going to go ahead and go to upload and I'm going to find an image that I have saved to my computer. And I'm going to go ahead and open it. I'm going to click on complex. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see the entire image. And so normally when you are cleaning up your image, you are going to clean up the background as well as the inside of all of the white pieces that you don't need. And so for this image, obviously that would be pretty time consuming. And so what I'm actually going to do this time is I'm going to click on a piece of black in the image. And you'll see that when I did that, it pretty much got almost everything with the exception of the eye because it's not connected. And then there are also a few other pieces throughout the image that are not connected as well. I'm not so much worried about all of the little pieces. I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and click on continue. But obviously if you wanted all of these smaller pieces, you would click them as well. I'm going to click on cut image. And then I'm going to insert this into my canvas. I'm going to resize it so that you can see what I'm doing. And so in order to get the inverted picture, what you're going to do is you're going to go to shapes and you're going to click on square. And then in the bottom left hand corner, you'll see a lock. You're going to click that. And that's going to allow you to resize your square into a rectangle. And then you're going to select both of these and you're going to click slice. And so what that's going to do is it's created almost a cookie cutter effect. I can take out the piece that I want and I can go ahead and delete the pieces that I don't. And then from here I can go ahead and change this to whatever color I wanted. So I'm going to change it to black. And then I also want to duplicate this. So if I click on this one and I click contour, what contour will do is it's actually going to create a silhouette. And so right now I can tell that they are having issues with the contour feature. And so there's actually a trick that I was going to show you later on in the video. But because contour is not working, I'm going to go ahead and show it now. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to save this right where I'm at. And then I'm going to go and click these 3 lines once that's saved. And I'm going to go to where it says settings. And I'm going to make sure that I am in the classic canvas. And so there are pros and cons to each of these. The biggest pro to the classic version is if you are having issues with design space freezing or certain features not working, sometimes changing to your classic version will fix that. The only thing I can tell you with the classic version is the offset feature does not work in that. So if you are not being able to use your offset, changing over to classic will not fix that. And so once I'm in my classic canvas, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to duplicate this and then I'm just going to go ahead and click on one of the layers and I'm going to click on contour. And you'll see hide all contour has shown up. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that and I'm going to X out. And so once I've done that, you'll see it's created a black silhouette. However, this part right here is not filled in. And the reason for that is because there's a gap in between the 2 hair pieces, and the same with down here. And so in order to fix that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my shapes again and click on square. And I'm going to unlock it in the lower left hand corner again. And I'm going to change this square into a thin line. And so I'm a little embarrassed to admit how long it took me to figure out how to make a line in Design Space. And I know that it's something that other people struggle with too. So this is almost a hack within a hack. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this, and I'm going to go ahead and place it right where that gap is. And once I have it lined up how I like it, I am going to go ahead and select both of these. And if it doesn't select that small line, because sometimes there are issues, you can hold down your image, or excuse me, click on your image, hold down the shift key, and then click on the line. And all you're going to want to do is weld it. And then so now if you click on contour and you click hide all contours, you'll notice that that piece is filled in now. So I'm going to go ahead and X out. And then if you wanted, you could change this to whatever color. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to yellow. And then I'm going to go ahead, and you'll notice that the yellow moved to the front. All you need to do is you can go to arrange and send to front, and you'll notice that your black piece is not front. And then you can also select both and center it if you need to. And so the next thing that I want to show you is I have a heart right here that, let's say I wanted to make 50 of these hearts. And so you could duplicate it 49 times. And obviously that would be, super probably frustrating and a waste of time. So all you need to do is click on Make It. And then up here where it says Project Copies, you can go ahead and change this number to 50. And you'll see that the Cricut has laid them out on your mat and has all 50 ready for you to go. And so what I want to show you next, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this heart. Let's see, 3 more times, and I'm going to go ahead and type out the word love, and I'm going to do it in a font. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, Stea, but I'm going to type that out, and this is a font that I have found on dafont.com as well. And I'm going to type out the word love. And I'm going to go ahead and resize this and connect my letters. And so once I have this how I like it, again, it's a cursive font, so I'm going to weld it. And let's say I wanted this design to be on a shirt, and I wanted these hearts to be centered horizontally right below love. And so if you were to select everything and you went to align and you go to center vertically, or even if you click everything and center it horizontally, you'll see that it does not actually center it the way that you want it. And so in order to fix that, you need to make sure that your hearts are grouped together and that love is grouped together, whatever your image up here is. So because it's been welded, we don't need to group it. And if you were typing it out in manuscript, it would automatically group. So your text doesn't actually need to be grouped, but your hearts do. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to go to align, and I'm going to distribute these horizontally. And then I'm going to distribute them vertically. So you'll see that they are equidistant from each other. I'm going to go ahead and click group. And now I'm going to select both of these. And if I go to center horizontally, you'll see that now love is centered within the hearts. And so really quick, I'm going to show you that, let's say I wanted two of these hearts to be red. I'm going to ungroup these. I'm just going to go ahead and hold down my shift key while I select the two hearts that I want to be red. And I'm going to change this to red. And then let's say I wanted my word and these other two hearts to be pink. I can go ahead and click on the advanced, go down to this fuchsia. And I'm going to go up here to this lighter shade of pink. And I'm going to go ahead and say that this is how I want my design to be. So if I go to make it right now, you'll see that the Cricut has connected, or not really connected, but they are trying to save as much vinyl as possible. And so they will place your image where it feels that it should be in order to save that vinyl. So obviously you wouldn't want it like this. So all you need to do is you're going to click on one of your images, hold down your shift key, and you're going to select everything that's pink, and you're going to click attach, and you're going to do the same for all of the other colors. So I'm going to hold down the red heart, or excuse me, click on the red heart, hold down the shift key, click on the other heart, and then I'm going to click attach. And so now you'll see when I go to make it, everything is placed on the mat exactly how it is on the canvas. And so you could also weld your design. So you could weld the pink together as well as the red hearts together. However, once you weld something, you can no longer undo your weld after you have saved your project. So attaching is the better option. There are very few things that I actually weld, and I do have a video on attaching versus weld if you want to learn more. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And the next thing that I want to show you is how to upload a pattern. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a heart design. And I'm also going to type out, let's say I'll type out love again. And I'm going to change my letter spacing to -0.5. Then I'm going to go ahead and resize this. And I'm going to weld it. And then because this is grouped automatically once we weld it, and this is its own single item, I can go ahead and select both. And I can center horizontally. Now my heart is in the middle. And so because I'm on the classic canvas, this may look a little bit different if you're using the new canvas. But in order to upload a pattern, you're going to use this no fill. And this turns your project into a print and cut project rather than a regular cut project. And so you will need a printer for this. However, there's a big advantage to this. So let's say I go on Google and I Google, I'm going to go ahead and Google cheetah prints background. And I'm going to find one that I like. And so let's say I like this one. I'm going to go ahead and right click it and save it. And this one I'm going to go ahead and discard since it can't be downloaded securely. So I'm going to go ahead and try this one. And that one can't be. So I'm going to find one. Let's try this one. Actually, that has a watermark. I'm going to try to find one that's not the same internet site as that. So I'm going to save this one. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to Design Space, and I'm going to go to Upload. So on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see something called Upload Pattern. You're going to go to Browse. I'm going to find that cheetah print that I just uploaded, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Upload. And so now if you go up here, you're going to click on No Fill. And if you're using the new canvas, you're actually going to click on where it says, up here it says Operation. You're going to go down to the bottom. It'll say Print and Cut, and then right below that it says Standard. You're going to click on Standard. If you're using the classic version, you just click on Print. And in both cases, you're going to see a box. You're going to click on that box where it says Color. You're going to go ahead and change it to Pattern. And you'll see that I have that cheetah print pattern that I just uploaded. And now my entire image is in that cheetah print. So if you have printable vinyl, you can just go ahead and print this out. Whereas if you have vinyl that is in a cheetah print, you can leave this as a regular cut image without changing it to a print and cut, and you could go ahead and cut your image. And so the other good thing of uploading a pattern is, let's say you actually do have the cheetah print vinyl, this just helps you visualize your design a little bit better. And so if you click on the pattern, Design Space actually has quite a bit patterns already uploaded in here for you, and so you could just pick any of them and change your design. And so the next thing I want to show you is something that you may or may not want to use, but if you click down here where it says blank canvas, you can click on that, and up here where it says color, you can go ahead and change your canvas color. And so this is beneficial if maybe you have a red shirt that you're going to put your design on. You can visualize it on a red shirt. And so the other thing that you can do is you can click in this top box right here. If you click it once, you'll see your grid goes to inches. And then if you click it again, you'll see that your grid is gone. And one of the benefits of this is if you have it, let's say on a white canvas, what you can do is, let's say this were your design and you wanted to send it to a friend to show them like, hey, this is what I've made for you. I want you to approve it before I make it. If you're using a Windows device, you can go down to the Snipping Tool and click on New, and you can go ahead and take a screenshot and go ahead and save this and send it to your friend. And so if you don't have the snipping tool down here in the this bottom toolbar, you can just search for it in your search bar. And so the other good thing about not having a grid is, let's say you have a design like this one. If you wanted to send this, let's say on Facebook, in a Facebook group, you can actually go ahead and ungroup this, and you can move your design around. And then once you have it placed however you want, you can go ahead and do the same thing with the snipping tool. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that real quick. I'm going to make sure that my cursor is off of the leaf. And I'm going to go ahead and do the snipping tool again. And I can go ahead and take a screenshot of this, save it, and upload it to a Facebook group. And that way this image is already I guess, delayered, or however you want to say that. Somebody could then upload this into their design space and either slice the individual components, or they could contour in order to get the different colors. And so something else that you may not know about is Design Space has the templates icon. And so I know that this is on a computer. I don't believe it's on an iPad or an iPhone. I'm not 100% sure because I don't really use those for my Cricut Design Space. But as you can see, there are several different templates that you can choose from. And so this is beneficial. Let's say you want to make a t-shirt. You can go ahead and click on that, and you can change the different sizes if you need to. So let's say you're doing a men's large shirt and you wanted to put this design on the shirt. You could go ahead, and this will at least give you a rough idea of how big you need to make your design. And so when you go to make it, these pieces will be ready for you to cut. However, what I want to show you is the same as we did for the hearts. You also need to attach these colors separately, and so I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this. And you may not have the option to ungroup depending on your image. This is just an SVG that I found on a website called Kahlua Design, I believe is how you pronounce it. And so this was already made into different colors for me. So as you can see, again, on the mat, the vinyl went wherever to save the most vinyl, or excuse me, the design went on the mat to save the most vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and click on both green items. I'm going to click attach. I'm going to do the same for this coral color. Click attach, and then obviously the yellow, since there's only one piece, I don't need to attach. But if you go to make it now, everything is the same on the mat as it is on the canvas. And so something neat I want to show you is, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Let me go ahead and click on everything. I'm going to resize this, make everything smaller. And I'm going to go to make it. So right now, if I were to make it, it's actually showing up on 3 different mats. And so you can do one of two things. You can either click on your design and highlight it and change everything to one color. And when you go to make it, everything will be on one mat. Or the other thing that you can do that's a little bit more time consuming, but you could go to make it and you could click on these 3 dots, move object, and you could move everything to one specific mat. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots, move object, and move it to the green mat. And then all you need to do is you're going to place these in different corners of your mat. And so I know that this is my green piece. And so I can just count the different squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know I'm going to need a piece of vinyl that's green, that's 6 inches across by about 5.5 inches height wise. And then for this coral piece, I know I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5. And then for here, I'll need a vinyl piece that is about 2 by 2. And so because this was on a shirt, you're going to want to make sure that when you're using heat transfer vinyl, you need to mirror your image. If not, when you actually go to iron it on your shirt, it'll be backwards. And so you're going to click mirror. And so for this, it was just one single mirror. However, if you were cutting this on multiple mats, you would have to mirror each individual mat like so. And so a lot of times, the more colors you have, the more people tend to forget to mirror their mats. And so an easy fix to that is if you go ahead and highlight your design, all you need to do is go up here to where it says flip it horizontally, and then you'll see now your image is backwards, which is how you want it to be. And so now when you go to make it, everything is automatically mirrored. So you do not need to mirror each individual mat. And so the next thing I want to show you is I am going to go ahead and resize this. And before I do that, I need to go ahead and highlight everything and resize it as one. And so let's say I had, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change this to for some reason. I think everything's attached is why. I'm going to go ahead and detach everything. So let me go ahead and press my back button. And so I'm going to make sure this is detached. Let's say I had, this leaf was a different shade of green. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a darker green. And really quick, let me make sure. So those are grouped. I'm going to ungroup them. So this one green is going to be a lighter shade, and this is going to be a darker shade. So if you had, let's say, maybe 30 leaves on this page, it would be pretty time consuming for you to click on each one, go up here, and change the color. So what you can do is over here you see something called Color Sync. You can go ahead and click that, and all you need to do is manually move each piece. And so it automatically changed that color to the lighter green. And so that's something that I don't really use too often, but if you had several of, maybe like several different shades of green and you wanted to simplify it, you could move everything up to one shade of green in the color sync panel. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is if you are using the new canvas. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the new canvas really quick. You are actually able to go ahead and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to go ahead and click Control and C to copy that. And if I go to File and New Window, I can open up another project. So I have this cupcake, and I'm going to click on Customize. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click. I'm going to make sure this one is also it is in the new. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my mat, and I'm going to press Control and V. And you'll see that I was able to add a project from another mat into this project. And so that is one of the benefits of the new canvas, as well as it has the offset feature, which if you haven't seen it before, really quick, I will show you. All I need to do is click on this to make an offset, and I'm going to go ahead and click apply. And so let's say you did not want to have the Cricut cut all of this. What you could do is you have your offset. You can go back into contour and you can click hide all contours. And then I'm going to X out. And so that time the contour actually did work. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to, let's say, yellow again. I'm going to place this on top. So if you didn't want the Cricut to cut all of this black pieces, because obviously that would be super time consuming to weed, what you can do is you can select both and you can center. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach. Actually, I'm going to detach that. I'm just going to flatten it. So it looks like Design Space is having issues. So what would actually have happened is this image, I'm going to go ahead and click the back button. So this image would be flattened onto the offset, and so the Cricut would only cut around the yellow part. So this again would be a print and cut. You would print out your skull, and then the Cricut would cut out around the yellow offset. But again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch back to my classic canvas. And I want to show you a few more things. So let's say I have this design and I want to place it on a piece of, let's say, cardstock, and I'm not sure how big I need this design to be. I can go into shapes and I can select square. And so let's say my piece of cardstock is 5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. I can go ahead and send that template to the back. I can place my cupcake on the front. So this actually pretty much lined up pretty well. Let's say I just wanted it to be a little bit smaller. You can kind of play around with it and see how it would look on your whatever material you're going to put it on. So if you were putting this on maybe, let's say, a canvas that was this size, or a shadow box, you would be able to visualize your design within your measurements. Sorry guys, I had some popcorn before and I have a little piece stuck in my throat. So once your design is to the size that you want, you can go ahead and just delete the template, and then you can go ahead and make your design. And so the last two things that I want to show you, I want to show you how to create a custom material. So one of the things that I found was I laminated cardstock and I cut it out. And when I cut it out on the Cricut settings, I had a really hard time finding a setting that would cut it out properly. And so let's say I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm going to create a shape, and let's say I wanted to cut out a heart and I wanted to laminate this heart. and have the Cricut cut it out. So I would laminate my cardstock and then I would put it on the mat, and the Cricut in an ideal world would cut it out perfectly. However, I found out that wasn't the case. So if I go ahead and click Make It, you can actually create your own custom material. So I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. And if you go to Browse All Materials, you're going to hold down your, you can either hold down your arrow key or you can use this little slider bar. You're going to go all the way down to the bottom, and where it says Material Settings, this time you will use your arrow key and you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, or you can use the slider bar on the far right. And you're going to go to Add New Material. And so you can call this whatever you want. So I'm going to call it Laminated Cardstock. I'm going to put the number 2 after it since I already have that setting already. I'm going to click Save. And what you can do is you can go ahead and adjust your pressure. So I'm going to put this as high as it'll go to 350. And then I'm going to use the fine point blade. And then this is how many times you want your material to cut. So I left mine off because I found that once I changed the pressure all the way up, it actually cut out with one pass. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then all I need to do is I'm going to X out of here. And so when I go to cut that, I already have mine saved as a favorite. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one, and then I just change the pressure to more, and it cut my laminated cardstock beautifully. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. And then the last two websites I want to show you aren't actually within Design Space, but they are great websites to know about. And so I'm going to go to the first one, which is a website called Wordmark.it. And so this website, you can type in any phrase that you want and press enter, and you can view it in every single font on your computer. And so you can also, let's say you want to click on this one, and you can put it side by side with maybe this one and compare and see which one you like better. So after you select all of the fonts that you want to compare, you just click this filter selected and you can view them all. You can also print these off if you wanted to create a book of all your fonts, as well as save this. You can change your kind of your, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, your display. Most of the features are free, as you saw that one you had to pay for, but just the basic wordmark.it is free. The other one is a website called remove.bg, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload that same skull picture that you saw earlier. And so what this is going to do is it's going to completely remove the background. I'm going to download it, and I'm going to go into Design Space, and I'm going to upload this image. And so for me, I don't really find that doing it the way that I did earlier is too time consuming. So I just prefer to do it in Design Space, but a lot of people do like to use this website. And so you can see that it removed everything. I can go ahead and click continue and save it as a cut image and then insert it into my canvas. And so hopefully you found several tips and tricks that you didn't know about. If you did, leave them in the comments below if there's anything else that you want me to do a video on. leave that in the comment below as well. And I hope that you have a great night.